A fundamental thing about the right, it depends on where on the spectrum they fall, but I think it's generally true no matter exactly where they fall on the spectrum towards the right. They believe in a hierarchy. They believe some people should be above certain other people. And of course, in the past, this has been racial, but it doesn't have to be racial. I just point that out to kind of give a glaring example. But the fact that now they just think of it in terms of economics, that rich, more or less what they're telling you. This is what they're telling you. Rich people deserve to be above you and to control you, to control everything. And that they are the kings and queens of the universe. So it's funny. And again, I made this statement before, they don't want government to control people, which is really mean they don't want them to interfere with business. We know that's what they actually mean. But they don't want the government to interfere with people, but they do want rich people to be able to control things, which means control people. Whether you live or die is dependent on who has enough money to determine that. But the thing is you find out they believe in this hierarchy where some people are better than others, that they deserve to have power over others, dominate others, because they have that position through wealth or whatever else. They think that they think they've inherited, they have a God-given right to be above you. This is very obvious when you hear some of them talk. I saw a meme the other day where somebody was saying that workers, labor unions, etc., did not bring us 8-hour day, etc., these labor reforms. They're saying Henry Ford did. But what's interesting to me is that they would credit somebody like Henry Ford, a rich man, basically, that had control over people. And he did, at some point, kind of treat his workers better. He thought it was good for business. But this does not mean he brought about that reform. People fought for these reforms. It wasn't just Henry Ford, whatever. But the thing is the main thing, though, is that that's indicative of how a lot of people on the right think. They look up to somebody like Henry Ford. They believe he deserves his position in society. See, it doesn't matter that any of these people merely inherited their position. Their families are rich, and so they had an advantage and got to where they are because they already had money, right? It's the old adage, you got to have money to make money, and they exemplify it. No, I don't care what the History Channel and their Foods That Built America or whatever it is say. You don't really start from just nothing and make money. You have to have something. Even people I know that are nominally successful did have something. And they might have worked at it. But see, not everybody gets a good enough job, right? To be able to have the money, or their circumstances are such that they can't necessarily have enough money to make money. And even if they do make a little bit of money, not everybody's going to be successful in business. I know people who have worked since they were kids, and they worked hard, and they do have, I know one guy in particular has a small business, but this guy is not rich. If he went by what people are claiming it to be true, he should have been rich. The amount of time, the amount of work he's put into things, the amount of time he spent working. Anyway, so it's obviously a fantasy. The far right, or the right in general, definitely has a lot of fantasies going on. They believe things to be, they have imaginary enemies, the whole bit. The guy in Germany in the 30s and 40s, I hate to constantly use him as an example. he's not the only example. But a lot of what he did was creating imaginary, or whatever. What's the word for it? Hobgoblins or whatever it is. And other things, and to think, yes, people deserve certain positions above everybody, right? Very obviously. But anyway, he's just an example of that. But that's the basis of their thinking. It's really old thinking. This is why we refer to some people as conservative. Just like the kings and queens inherited their right to be above people, to lord it over people, their power, etc. Another thing about this is that this is also, there's an argument by conservatives that certain people don't deserve to have their wages raised. Right? This is their argument against minimum wage or giving people like fast food workers a better wage, that somehow they don't deserve it. And I can tell you right now, fast food workers work their asses off. But these guys think that they're peons. Right? You got to think about how they think about things. They think certain people don't deserve to live well because of their position in society. That they don't deserve to make as much as others. That is a corrupted way of thinking.